Folks, we are here at Lanier High School in the gym where it all happens, folks. And the Lanier Bulldogs once again off to a hot start. They're 15-3 right now. I'm joined by their head coach, Lawrence Clark, of their team. They have been good for a long time. Lanier's been good for a long time. And yet again, they've got another good team packing out crowds and having some exciting basketball here. And I'm joined by Coach Lawrence Clark.
Good to have
Coach.
you. Good. Appreciate you, Trellis.
Absolutely. So, Coach, look, another year. Last year, you guys had a real good start. You're just telling me before the interview that the big thing that you're focused on is the ending, the playoffs, how you guys do in the postseason. But you have to be happy with how your guys are doing in the regular season because the regular season is extremely important to see how your team's doing and continue to work. What have you seen from your team so far this year?
I've seen growth. Like you said, we've gotten off to another great start. Some of our key guys that have been in the system for 3 or 4 years have taken another level with their game, with their maturity level. We still have some ways to go. We had some guys that played roles last year that were on the bench that are starting now. So we're just happy to see a lot of the kids just taking those little small steps of getting better.
Yes, and so we just saw, it was last night you guys took on Florence, and you guys got the win there, district matchup where you guys were able to pull it out, probably closer than some people would imagine. Kind of talk about that game. Take us through that ball game last night.
Well, Florence is a good team. Yep. I think they have a pretty good record. They got a pretty good coach. Coach Chancellor's been over there for a long time.
Yeah.
He does a great job with them every year. We shot the ball horribly last night, which is not really normally how we shoot the ball. I think we went 17 for 55. We just shot the ball bad, but they gutted it out, or they found a way to win. And that's part of having a championship team or a good team. You got to have some close wins and find a way to win. And they rallied and they get it done. So I'm proud of them. I thought we could have done a better job, but it's a win.
Yeah, and it's always there are always big matchups when you guys play the other JPS schools. You pack out the house, and play these teams. Kind of talk about some of those games and how those games prepare you guys moving forward, because I think Provine is the only team that would be a district team that's Correct. In the JPS. Everybody else you just play on a regular season basis. Kind of talk about how those kind of games prepare you guys, because a lot of those schools are a little bit bigger, like maybe Jim Hill or Amura.
Well, anytime you play a JPS school, the crowd, the intensity gives you a playoff atmosphere.
That's right.
And we have several teams right now that are ranked in JPS with Amura making a resurgence. But anytime you play a JPS team, because the kids know each other, it's going to be a little bit more on the line. And those games kind of prepare you for playoff basketball. A lot of people say that JPS is down right now with basketball, but there's a slight resurgence right now. We got 3 or 4 teams that are pretty good. We played Callaway twice. They have Braxton Ward over there, who's a good player. So we're playing those JPS teams just get you ready for playoff basketball, and they mean a little bit more.
That is true. And so those kind of games get you prepared. Then you guys took on Holmes County Central just a couple of weeks ago. That was a highly anticipated game because in non-district play, they had done very well. And they're a very athletic team. They also have some size as well. But you guys were able to take it to them. Really came out, hit the ground running. The place was packed, ready to go. And you guys were able to hold on and get the win because they had a surge there towards the end. Kind of talk about that game and how that game was for you as a coach, coaching these guys.
Oh, man. These guys that like I said, we talked about their maturity level. Whatever reason, we've kind of had some issues this year with holding leads. We got up to a great start. I don't think Holmes County probably predicted us to shoot the ball as well as we did, but like I just told you before, we shoot the ball pretty well. So we got out to a good 25-point lead. But Holmes County is a good team, and they have a great coach over there as well who's won 2 state championships. And I told the guys that they would make a run. We knew that they would make a run. We knew they wouldn't let out. And they made a good run. They made it interesting for us, but we were able to hold on to it and get the win. Again, it's a win. We'll take it.
And so the big thing for you, Coach, obviously last year you guys had, a real good start to the season. I think you guys were 20-4 at one point in time. You end up losing in the postseason kind of early, just earlier than you guys expected. You were talking to me before this interview about how the big thing is the ending, how you guys end the season. What are some things that you're doing now to try to prepare those guys for that game? What's tough is that it's, one game you're out. If you take that loss, you have to stay focused. Talk about that.
Well, we know that most teams are going to play a zone. We know that. And so the last couple of years, that's kind of what's hurt us in the end.
Yeah.
The zone play and going on the road. And we talk about having home court advantage as well. You know, moving up to 5A, you only have one game maybe at home, and then everything else is on the road. And, you know, we have to go to Valley and then to the Coliseum. But the main thing is just finding a way to win. We know that teams are going to play a zone, and we have to execute better against those zones. The last 2 years, that's technically what has put us out. We did have some kids that did not perform well in those situations, and we kind of talked to them about it to mentally let them know, hey, listen, we need you to do certain things in these situations, and we just kind of work on it every day. So hopefully we'll, you know, get over the hill, so to speak, this year with that. We know what other teams are going to do to us. We know that. And so we work on it every day at practice. We just have to go out there and execute.
That's right. Tell us about the Lanier basketball culture, because there's a lot of history here. And you know, when you come in here for a game night and the place is just packed like consistently, I mean, that's a big thing. It's a big thing. A lot of schools can't get that, you know, and so there's a good basketball culture here. Talk about that and how that's here at this school.
Well, as you see, like when you look around the gym, there are banners everywhere, state championship pictures, and so that's just the expectation. You know, when I came here, the program was a little down, and I just took it upon myself, you know, to get it back to the way that it used to be. It is tough to be here. You know, there's a lot of history here, a lot of winning coaches, Coach Billups, Osman Jordan, so there's an expectation here. We tell the kids all the time that if you can't live up to this expectation, then you don't need to be here. Lanier is known for basketball. And I tell them every day, looking at Raptors, you know, you see championship quality here. This is just what it is. And so, yeah, you know, it's an expectation here to win. They want you to win. We expect to win. We tell the kids we expect them to win. So just winning is part of the game. And if you don't want to do that and you don't want, you know, you can't win and can't perform, this may not just be the place for you. So we coach them hard and we have high expectations, not only on the court, but in the classroom. So, you know, we just want to develop a winning mentality with the kids on and off the court. So, but to answer your question, yes, it's expectation to win. And that's what it is.
That's right. That's right. Hey, so, Coach, give us your background. Just let our audience know kind of your background, how you got here.
I played at Murrah in the 90s when we were pretty good. But after that, I left Murrah and I went to Tougaloo. Then I went to Texas Southern. I finished there, and then I started coaching. My first coaching gig was at Chastain. So I stayed there a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went to Sidewell for 4 years. And then my good friend Timothy Speech was at Murrah, and his assistant coach left. So he needed another coach. And so I went to Murrah, stayed there for 2 years, went back to Chastain for 2 years, and I came over here. So I was just happy to be here. I applied for the Murrah job. I didn't get it. I applied for the new job one time before and didn't get it. But the third time was a charm. And so when I got here, like I said, the program was a little down, but I had a plan on what I wanted to do. And my assistant coaches did a great job of helping me execute the idea that we had. And now we're here. So, you know, I paid my dues and I'm here now.
And you guys are doing very well. Kind of talk about some of your players on the team, because you got some good talent on your team that you're coaching up. Kind of talk about some of these guys that we see, because I know that I've seen, I mean, you see the clips going around online of you guys playing, and it's impressive, entertaining to watch as well. Kind of talk about some of these guys.
Well, the head of the Snickers was Xavier Banks. He's our best player. Like I said before, two-time state champion in the high jump, great kid on and off the court.
Yep.
Can shoot the three ball, can create his own shots. And like I said, a lot of people are enamored with his dunks and his moves, so he's the head of the snake. After that, we have a great junior, Cy Young Billbrook, 6'7" center. He's come a long way. He's turned the corner really well for us, almost averaging a double-double for us. So we're really proud of him and the upside that, you know, he has. After that, Max Owens, another junior. He does all the dirty work for us. He's probably our second best offensive player, but you won't know that because he checks the other team's best player. He plays a lot of defense. And so he's just playing as well, and we're really, really proud of him. And he has a bright future with us. And then Darian Duckworth, 6'4" shooting guard. He's come on a long way this year. He was coming off the bench for us last year. But he's a shooter for us, and he makes big shots for us. So we're just proud of the whole team. And then we have Coriante Coleman, senior, who's been with us 4 years. He's extremely athletic as well. A lot of people are enamored with his dunks. Great rebounder, can shoot the three. And these guys have been together for a little time now, and so it's just gelling. But we're pretty deep because we still have Rashad Warner coming off the bench. He started all last year, but he's accepted his brother coming off the bench this year so we can become bigger. He's accepted his role. He's the creator for us. He can assist the table, gets everybody involved. And so we're just proud of all the guys, really. But I can just keep going because we got another kid, Jeracey Carson, 10th grader, who's also a football player.
Yeah.
300 pounds, solid as a rock.
Yeah.
He comes off the bench, does dirty work, gets rebounds, play. So we have a lot of guys that are contributing. I just can't say it's one guy. But those guys that I've named, we're really proud of them, and we like what they're doing for us.
So what are some things that you want to tighten up for your playoff run that you're trying to go on? Because, right now you guys are doing a good bit of winning. Okay, yeah. So it looks good, but I know for you, there's just that little bit of paranoia. You know what I mean? You want to be ready for that playoff, even though you're winning right now. Talk about that. What are some things you want to tighten up?
The main thing is our maturity. These guys, they've matured on the court, but sometimes their preparation and approach to the game bothers them. Like last night, we played Florence. I said we didn't play very well. I just think that they did not approach the game correctly. And several of our losses, I didn't think they approached the game very well. When you start winning, you kind of think that you can just roll in and beat everybody. So sometimes you need a wake-up call, and I think the Jim Hill game was there for us, and we kind of went on another little run. But with that being said, the main thing that I want to tighten up or worry about is just their approach. Just coming in, doing it every day, doing it every night. And these kids are 17, 18 years old. They got other things going on, social media and all this other stuff. So sometimes it's hard to stay focused. So the main thing for us as a coaching staff, we're just trying to keep them dialed in to the small things, the details, playing defense, rebounding, sharing the ball, and those kind of things. So it's just the mentality and approach to the game every night.
And so, Coach, how do you do that? Because, I know that this is a problem that a lot of high school coaches have trying to keep their guys dialed in. Because you're talking about high schoolers. Kind of talk about that. How do you guys get that done?
It's a balancing act because you have 15 different personalities.
Yeah.
You can, some of them you can coach hard and they'll respond. Some of them you can coach hard and they'll go into a shell. And so it's just a balancing act of trying to figure out that personality, what it is that we need to do to push that particular kid. We had a couple of kids that started off kind of slow, and we had to kind of put our arms around them and tell them, hey, listen, we still believe in you. You can still expect certain things from you to give them a little extra push. Some of the other guys, we have to get down deep on them. So it's just a balancing act. There's no magic formula. I tell all of them all the time, you don't treat everybody the same way because everybody deserves different things. Everybody needs something different. And so as a coaching staff, we're just constantly trying to figure out what's too much, what's too little, and just try to keep them focused. So that's the main thing right now.
Yeah, and you guys take on Vicksburg on Friday. That's your next game.
On Friday.
And so that's a district game there. Very solid program. Kind of talk about that matchup, kind of preview that matchup for us.
It's going to be pretty tough. Coach Carter does a great job with those kids. And the last time we went down there, they spanked us. We went down there 2 years ago, and I think Lazabian was in the 10th grade. We were just starting over a bunch of 10th graders that year, and they beat us by 40 or 50 points. So we remember that.
Yeah.
I hope the boys remember that. But it's going to be a great game. Coach Carter always does a great job with the kids. He's a great coach. He got some good players over there. I think they have an explosive guard, number 5, who's pretty solid. So we have our hands full. And I think when we played them last year, we came in, we played them pretty tough. We beat them, but they made it a tough game for us. So we know it's going to be a tough game. And we know it's going to be a game that we have to set a statement because, again, we got to play them again senior night. And all the hoopla, I'm worried about them not approaching the game correctly and possibly letting Vicksburg slide in and beat us.
That's right, and they're a very solid program. You guys play against a lot of good teams as well. And kind of talk about how playing tough competition early in the season helps you late.
Well, when I got the job, I had a good friend of mine tell me, listen, you got to play those tough games. And I had my principal at the time tell me, if you go ahead and play these tough games now, when you get into district play, it'll drop off a little bit. And so we've never really scheduled cupcakes, so to speak. We've always tried to play the hard games. We played the 7As, we played the 6As, even when we were 4A, because we just feel like those teams will get us ready for district tournament, district play, and the playoffs. So we always try to schedule the Brandons, the Clintons, the Callaways, Ridgelands. These are good teams that we try to play every year. Even Raymond, I think we played them this year, although they're not in our district anymore. We still wanted to play them because Tony Tadlock does a great job with them defensively. So we're going to always try to schedule the tough teams and just see where we stand. But we just think that gets us battle tested for the playoffs.
That's right. So that's a good point that you made there. So you guys moved up into 5A this year.
Yes.
And so it's a different district. How does that change affect your outlook in terms of the playoffs?
Not much. To be honest with you, like I said, we've always scheduled 7A, 6A, 5A. So basketball is basketball.
That's right.
So when we put our teams together and our lineups together, we're preparing to play those kind of teams. To be honest with you, not to say this is going to be easier, but moving up to 5A, there are less games to make it to the championship game. In 4A, you have to win 5 games, 4 games to get to the state championship. In 5A, you only have to win 3 to get into the state championship. So it's a shorter road, not necessarily easier, but it's shorter. Yeah,
that's definitely kind of back to talking about some of these guys on this team, some of these players. Do you have some guys that are doing some good job with some leadership? Talk about the leadership from your players. Yeah, I know that, and I know that that's a thing that you said that you want to have improve as well. But kind of talk about that a little bit.
We have some kids that are trying. I guess the best way to explain it is, everybody wants to be liked. And so sometimes when you're telling somebody they're doing something wrong and that's your teammate, you don't want them to turn against you or for them to feel like that you don't like them. And I think that's what we're struggling with right now. Nobody just wants to step up and just take ownership and say, hey guys, we need to do this and do that. And I talked to them about it last night, just accountability. I told them last night, the way that we're preparing for games, we have certain people that are not holding other people accountable for the ways that they're not preparing for the games. So the leadership role is there, but it's just not as vocal as it needs to be. I think Xavier is doing a great job leading by example. We have several of them that are doing that. Max Owens is doing a great job leading by example, but the vocal part is what's missing right now.
Okay, yeah. So another question I wanted to ask you about is a little bit about Lanier right now because you guys have been playing well basketball-wise. But now you got the football team catching up as well. So you got a winning culture going on at the school. Kind of talk about that a little bit.
I've told people the last 2 or 3 years that Lanier is the best high school in JPS right now. Coach Kelly's come in. He's done a phenomenal job with the boys, turning the program around, bringing some notoriety to it. And again, that program was good under Coach Ashford, but he's just taking it to another level. So Coach Kelly's done a phenomenal job with the football team. We've been pretty successful the last couple of years in basketball. Coach James has done a great job with the girls basketball team. They made it to the Coliseum last year. Yeah. He's done a phenomenal job with the volleyball team. They made the playoffs, and I think they won a playoff game in volleyball, which is kind of rare in JPS. Coach Phillips has done a wonderful job with the track team. I think they've won the city the last 2 or 3 years. So right now, we just have a good winning culture going on over here at Lanier. We have some great athletes. But I can't say that it's all the coaches, but we've had some great administrators. Dr. Bradley has put a lot of stuff in place for us before she retired to help us, be successful. And Dr. Bailey just, come in and grab the baton and she's kept it going. So we are fortunate to have some of the administrators that we've had. We have some good coaches, but our administration team is wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Coach, as far as recruiting is concerned, you got a very good team. Yeah. And, we've definitely noticed in Mississippi, we've had a little bit, our players, I would argue, that have been under-recruited, I'd say. But how have you seen that on your level? Because when it comes down to, you guys are at the highest level in Mississippi, really, when it comes to even recruiting. Kind of talk about that a little bit, how your guys have been getting looked at by colleges and kind of where they stand on that.
Well, of course, with basketball, the portal is killing everything. And I think that's right. The same thing with football as well. But this year, we've had several colleges come in to look at our kids. Maybe because we got off to a hard start, I don't know. But almost all the JUCOs have come in this year. Jackson State has stepped in several times. So we're not really having a problem with getting our kids seen. They're here. They're talking to the kids. I just think that, our kids got to do a better job of doing what they need to do to get those kids, get those schools to go ahead and offer them. But the recruiting thing in Jackson or Mississippi is not what it used to be. Like I said, I played at Murray in the 90s where college coaches went to the gym all the time. So I think with the NCAA and this portal thing, until they get all that stuff worked out, it's going to be a decrease in recruiting. Yeah, and at the same time, let's be honest about it, basketball is kind of going down. I think athletics are down just a small bit in the state because we don't have those quality athletes that we used to have.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Coach. I guess my last question for you is that, so moving forward, a big goal is the playoffs, is doing well in the playoffs. That's your number one goal. What's your next goal for this team for this year?
State championship. I mean, I think I told you last year, every year we're playing to win a championship. And if we're not, then what are we doing? I tell the kids all the time, and I keep, saying to them, listen, If we don't win a state championship this year, just another good season. How many have Lanier had? That's just the norm here. You have good seasons, and you don't get a pat on the back for that. So we're putting pressure on them, and I think we put pressure on ourselves. The expectation is to win every year. We work hard over here. We work the kids hard, and we're not just playing for 20-win seasons or good seasons. We want to win a state championship, and that's the ultimate goal. And I think like I said last year, every coach in the state of Mississippi will probably tell you the same thing. They're not just playing to have a good season. They want to win a state championship. But unfortunately, out of 280 schools, only 7.
That's right.
There'll only be 7 of us. So, but we're playing for a state championship, and we think that we have the team to do it. We know it's going to be hard, but we think that we have the team to do it. If the kids lock in and do what they're supposed to do, it'll happen. But, like I tell people all the time, winning a state championship is not easy. It takes a little luck. Everything has to fall in place. And we know that. So, but we're preparing for it, and we're just going to give it our best shot and see what happens.
And listen, you guys have a real good shot, Coach. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you every time.
Absolutely.
Right, thank you.
And so, folks, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And we appreciate you joining us. Share with anyone else who'd be interested. Share this around. We out.